order, and looking around the room, I do see that we have a quorum. So I will read the roll call, and when I read your name, please attest that you are here and you have your materials. Sally?
Here, and I've got them.
And turn your mic off on
So
your
don't
computer.
unmute when I gotcha.
Right,
Gotcha. I'm here
okay. And you have the
and
material.
I have the materials.
Wonderful. Dr. Curtis? Present and have materials. Alan?
Well, he's a doctor, I'm a doctor.
Okay, doctor? Attorney?
Are we
Yes.
doctors?
Yes.
I can't heal anybody though.
Okay, I'm present and I have my material.
Thank you. Terry?
Present, well, I guess present, but I have the material, yes.
And Ann?
Present, and I have the materials.
And let me note for the record that John Wibbins is present, but not in a voting capacity for tonight. Thank you. All right, with that, let's move to the Library Board of Minutes of the meeting held on December 20th. Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
I need Rachel to help.
Yeah, now we're first name basis. Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
And Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. So it goes. Yes, okay. With that, we'll move right to the director's report. Deb?
We're going to start with Jenny, who has some, I think, really wonderful news about in the statistics this month, if you got a chance, but I'm sorry, yeah, over here.
I want to.
Right. Yes, I do have good news because we have seen a lot of really positive developments across many of our statistical categories. And I think one of the things I want to point out is that this time last year, we were still doing things largely digital. So that includes both how our collection was being used and also how we were programming. And you can see from the first graph that shows physical versus digital circulation. Back at the beginning of the year, we were at 39% digital and 60% physical. And even though those are not huge percentage differences, you can see how we're shifting more and more towards people coming into the branches and checking out physical items. We're ending with higher circulation, higher monthly cardholder signups, and higher door counts across the system. So we're seeing a lot of more people are coming into the branches and more people are using us in different ways. Also with cardholders, what we saw over the year is that we did have a little bit of so right now we're at 35,000 and some change active cardholders. And we did start the year at a higher number and saw some decreases largely because that was still the effects of main library having been closed in the COVID pandemic. So people fall off after a year. So some of those changes occur after the fact. We're seeing like a retrospective. And then we saw the lowest points were in July, the late summer, so July through October. But what is really exciting and more meaningful about what the future holds is that ever since that point, we've been seeing increases in our active card holdership, our total card holdership every single month. And we're continuing to see that. This is a sneak preview into what I'll talk about in January, but January especially, we're seeing some really encouraging trends across the board. The final thing that I'll mention is just that on the branch level, one thing that we noted, and it's December again, so you have the holidays, you have weather, so you have different factors that you have to take into account. But we saw increases across the board on gate count at all of our locations. And it was in circulation was down in many cases, except for main library, which was an effect of Keller Park closing and main library opening. So that's just an interesting thing to consider how people were using the library. So they were here and they were here in bigger numbers than we had seen the previous year, but they were just using us in different ways. And that was probably largely computer use or being in the building or programming, other ways that people use us. So we're just looking into those things so we can learn more about what our patrons need. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
And I'll keep going. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on how the guest card process is going. We've been tracking the comments and the complaints regarding guest cards after the first mailing went to all of our active reciprocal patrons. And of the approximately 4,000 letters sent, I was guessing that we might hear from about 10% or maybe about 400 people. So at Maine tracked it really well. They had 91 basically complaints and another 30 or so that came in through email or contact us. And besides the complaints, there were a lot of just curious, what did this mean? What was it going to change? And we had folks who had changed their address and now actually live in our service area. I think there were 10 of those people. So we were recapturing some people we didn't actually know we had. Center and North Liberty and Francis are the other 3 branches where we've gotten the most response. And that's to be expected because these are branches that kind of sit on the edge of other library territories. So you would expect those to be the ones. Francis definitely has a vocal population, and we knew that. And Center has had perhaps 75 patrons call or stop by. But Francis hasn't done a true count, neither has North Liberty. At any rate, it seems like we're well below the 400 that I was estimating. So that's kind of where we are right now. And customer service at Maine tells us that on a daily basis, those numbers are dropping off. So the longer it's been since the first letter, the fewer responses we're going to have. And then, Jenny, do you know when the second sort of communication is going out? Because there'll be several before we implement in June. There are a lot of people, I think, that are waiting to see how much they use the library before they decide whether they're going to buy a guest card in June. And several of them we've heard have been sort of grateful for the grace period to say, oh, I have until June to figure this out. And so we've gotten a little time out of that. There have been some people, of course, not a lot, that are really upset, but that's to be expected. We thought that would happen. And now that Mishawaka is also mirroring us, that's going to make a difference too. So they just started that process. Their board approved it last week, and they're rolling that out. Learning Center bookings are starting to take off to date, and we just opened the Learning Center the 10th of January, so it's been open just a little under 2 weeks. We've billed nearly $5,000 in Learning Center bookings, so I think we're off to a good start. Those are the bookings we charge for, not the free ones. And then in finance, I also wanted to mention you're seeing the fund report for December. So these are the year-end balances, and we always kind of take a hard look at those. We've ended the year with just about $1 million less in the general fund, but you'll also see that we moved, and may remember that we moved money to rainy day, and you did that transfer in November. So we transferred $1 million at that point. You also have the expenditure comparison between 2020 and 2021. And our spending was up 4.66% without factoring in the construction. A lot of that was in wages and benefits because we were hiring for Maine Libraries reopening. We let our staffing go way down with the pandemic and hadn't really done a lot of replacing. So we spent the year beefing up the staff. That was about 413,000 of that. But while we're not fully staffed, we're almost never fully staffed because as soon as we hire somebody, somebody else quits in another department. I mean, that's just the turnover rate. But we're close. Are we not, Kara? We're pretty close to being at full capacity. I think our overhead burden is still higher than we'd like to see, but a good portion of that is still for Maine Library project expenses. And we had a few $1 million in the general fund for Maine Library project. So I think that's all I wanted to mention. If you have questions, please let me know.
Any questions for Deb?
Yeah,
Alan?
So I just happened to notice on the local news, I think it was Friday night, that there was a movie here Friday night in the thing. And I wondered, that's perhaps the first, one of the first ones I assume, because I think they just opened that auditorium. How did that go? Does anybody know how that went?
Jenny was here.
Did everything work and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I keep losing sound here. Is anybody else?
Oh,
Sorry about that. I was saying that we had two showings. The first one was actually the weekend before, and that one was very well attended. We had over 100 people. This past weekend, had a much lighter attendance, and I think partly it could have been subject matter or the fact that it was very cold and very wintry outside. But what was most exciting was the experience was amazing for both the patrons. I think it was really nice for staff. And it was so cool to see the space being used in that way.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it was
That's so
phenomenal.
Beautiful. They were still
What's
working
the
on it last night.
capacity in that space? I was so close to going and it was the weather.
Oh, I know. It's 250. So it's especially, right now, I think it's really comfortable for a group to come in and they can kind of spread out and use the space.
Right.
But the sound quality was amazing. And the screen was great. So you can really imagine how all of the things that we have planned and how it's going to be such a good experience for patrons. And everyone was raving about the experience.
If you guys haven't done it before, when we leave, we should go down there and look at that room.
This, by the way, we think is the inaugural experience in this room. So we still don't have, there are special sound panels that are going up that are still on order. So it's a little bit more live than we would want, but you can get a sense of how it feels with the window and the view and the tables and everything. Sound wise, we're not where we'd like to be, but we'll get there.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the director's report?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Let me do the roll call. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. Let's move on to the library bill list.
We're going to see two separate bill lists. One is for a little over $2 million, and that is to wrap up the end of year stuff that occurred between the last board meeting and then wrapping up the end of the year, including the actual physical transfer of the rainy day fund from general fund to rainy day that you approved in November. And then for January's bill list, it is $1,656,896.54. Of that, $211,661 and some change for database services renewals, things like Overdrive for the beginning of the year for 22. And there were $383,974 in construction and furnishing expenses. Are there any questions on any of the other items on the bill list?
Hearing none, I'll call for approval. A motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Let me call the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. I do see that we have several gifts. Would somebody like to discuss the gifts to $8,000 in gifts?
Yeah, several sponsor gifts, University of Notre Dame and Bagley Landscaping, they gave to Science Alive at the classic level, which is 1,000. And then Herman and Getz gave at the bestseller level, that's for one book sponsorship at 3,500. The donation from Keim Hauser, that was unsolicited. And that went just to the general annual fund. And the donation, the sponsorship donation for Foley and Andrews, that went to the annual fund, but they actually paid their sponsorship for the donor preview party in November.
Okay, so we have $8,000 in gifts. Do I hear a motion to accept? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll do the roll call. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. Do we want to speak about reports from the special committees?
It's, we could do that under new business if you'd like to do that.
Okay,
And it should probably be the committee themselves who reports.
exactly. So
It's up to you.
normally at these meetings, we have no standing committee reports, but this time we do. So we will wait and hear from the standing committee, our Human Resources Committee, under new business or under unfinished business.
I think it's under new because it's consulting.
Okay. Will it be a separate item or will it be part of item B?
Part of item, I thought it would be part of it, but
Okay.
you could do it either
No,
way.
we'll
you
do it
would
as
like.
part of
Yeah,
item B.
Okay.
Okay. Understood.
Okay.
Is there any unfinished business? And we will go to new business. We will start with change orders. I saw Antonia there a minute ago. Hi, there you are.
Christine, we need to do
What do we need to do?
personnel changes.
I just jumped over that.
You did.
Okay, fine. Sorry, Antonia,
sorry.
hold
I
on.
confused you.
I jumped. Could we go back to item number 6 for personnel changes?
There's nobody in particular I want to point out, but you do have about 9 new hires on this list. And again, we're still filling those vacancies at mostly main library, but all around the system. Although in the 9 new hires, I believe one of them only made it a couple of days and before he decided that something better was out there. So let's say really 8 new hires that we have on this list.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed the new hires. If they were here, I would apologize to them personally. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel changes?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I will do a roll call. Sally? Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. Moving to the next item, which we jumped ahead, we will do our special, one committee met, and we'll fold that into item number 9B. I do believe there is no unfinished business, and with that, we will go to change orders.
Thank you very much. We have a few changes this period. The first one is for golf. There were 3 changes. One for event space plaster, which turned out to be a back charge to Zolkowski. That overall cost was $8,883. There is a deduct for site concrete repairs for $4,943 and miscellaneous back charges for an overall cost from Shamba or to Shamba for $611. Herman and Getz, so golf had a overall change of $4,551. Herman and Getz had 2 changes. One, Bully and Andrews directed electrical modifications for $1,222 and miscellaneous back charges for $540. The $1,222 is a credit for overall change to Herman and Getz for a credit of $682. Indiana Earth had 1 change, which was a back charge from Structural Steel Services. That overall deduct was $2,756. Interior Finishes had 1 change for a $3,875 add. Larson Danielson had 3 changes. 1 for furnishing and installing the smart box doors for $10,936. There is a deduct for labor that did not occur from them, which resulted in a credit of $2,942. And the rest of the cost for the hand wash stations that we needed during COVID, during the construction period, while we were while COVID was happening. That overall cost is $3,170 for overall change to Larson Danielson for $11,164. For Larson Danielson millwork, there were two changes. One for the allowed overtime for $8,846. And there were a few miscellaneous millwork changes for $833 for overall change to Larson Danielson at $9,681. Midland had one deductive change for the site concrete repairs for $4,943. Reese Riley, we wind up taking out their allowance that we were holding for $40,000. Shamba, we had one deductive change for some repair work that occurred from golf for $611. Structural Steel Services had three changes. One for the site fence panels for $8,692. A few steel modifications that were requested by the city for $428, and a back charge to Structural Steel Services for the site concrete repair at $4,943 for an overall change to Structural Steel Services at $4,177. Zolkowski had two changes, both of them credits, for the event space plaster for a credit of $8,883, and for the site concrete repair for $4,943 for overall change from Zolkowski at $13,826 for an overall total change for January. That is a credit of $29,370.
Thank you, Antonia. It's nice to hear that we have a credit on our change orders. So let me summarize and go quickly through our change orders. We have Goff for an increase of $4,551. Herman & Getz with a credit of $682. Indiana Earth credit of $2,756. Interior Finishes, an increase of $3,875. Larson Danielson, an increase of $11,164. Larson Danielson Millwork, an increase of $9,681. Midland Engineering, a credit of $4,943. Reith Riley, a credit of $40,000. Shambaugh and Son, a credit of $611. Structural Steel Services, an increase, $4,177. And Zolkowski Construction, a credit of $13,826, which leaves our total changes a credit of $29,370. Questions?
I wanted to mention that the Reith Riley credit, as Antonia said, came out of their asphalt, the asphalt allowance. We are still going to go back and do that asphalt, but we'll do it in the spring when the asphalt plants reopen. And then we'll just get quotes and the library will do that work. We always intended to, but we took it out of the bid package.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to accept the change orders?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let me call for the roll. Sally? Aye. Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. Moving to item 9B. Deb?
I'll start, and then I'm not sure where the committee wants to come in, but the Personnel Committee met on several occasions in order to get ready to provide recommendations regarding a search firm to fill the executive director position. They did a terrific job. And after meeting with the Personnel Committee, it's my recommendation to the full board to hire John Keister and Associates as the executive recruiter. This is a family-owned firm located in Vernon Hills, Illinois, but it has deep connections to this area. They're originally from the South Bend area. John Keister's completed over 350 executive searches, including over 100 library director searches, and their total focus right now is on public library. Shouldn't say public libraries, on libraries. And their all-inclusive fee is $20,500. So that's my recommendation to the board. And then if the committee, however you want to do that.
Does anyone from the committee like to make a statement?
Okay, can he speak?
Can John speak as being
Yeah.
present, because he's not
Yeah.
going to vote on it? John, would you like to give just a brief overview of your process? You're muted, John.
All righty, am I back?
You're back.
All righty. We had an opportunity to meet with 3 different firms. And after those opportunities, it became obvious that although all 3 of them had really impressive presentations, one of the 3 we eliminated immediately because they were significantly smaller, had less experience with Indiana and with library director searches than the other 2. And the other 2 that we looked at were both impressive, but we made our recommendation to Deborah based on our meeting and the enthusiasm and background that was offered. And that, I think that, Alan probably had a bit of the helm on this because he helped us put together a questionnaire, essentially, for these different groups. And it became interesting in that the John Keister managed to answer at least half of the questions without being asked, which was kind of an interesting turn of events. So he was that insightful and offered us, I think, the most enthusiastic opportunity to help us in our search. So that was how we came to the conclusion that was our recommendation.
Thank you, John.
I just want to add, and then he came and spoke to the board, well, virtually spoke to the board, and because even though that was our top pick, we wanted to make sure there was nothing in there that was not okay with the rest of the board. So, and I think that was flying colors.
Thank you. Alan?
I just, on behalf of the committee, I'd like to first thank Sarah, and Sarah, I think you had 1 or 2 staff members that assisted you. Yeah, so we want to thank you all for the great work you did. We looked closely at the recommendations you all made. We also had to work some other resources, check with ALA, and check with the state, and check with some other folks that we knew, both in Indiana and around the country. And we got a few other names as well. And so we had 6 or 7 different executive search firms that we looked at initially. And then we narrowed it down to 3. We invited the 3 to meet with us and interview the 3 for about an hour. So that's how we came to that. But I want to acknowledge that you all, I mean, really, it was very helpful that we had that starting point. So that was very helpful. So we just want to know that we appreciate it. And the folks that we had talked to acknowledge that they had already talked to I think you, Sarah. So that was very good. That was very helpful. And we appreciate that, as well as the data sheet that you put together, because we use that as well, the information that was attached to that as well. Get us going. We didn't ignore that. That was very helpful.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'd like to say something. I was one of the doubters, I guess I would say, when we started about using an outside firm. And that was really based on some experiences in the past that were more consultants than headhunters, and sometimes that doesn't go well, as I know some of you know. Anyway, I want to let you know I'm on board 100%. I'm not holding back now on my thinking. That was good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to make one comment to your comment, which was that when we talked to John Keister, he started out by saying one of the reasons he went into this was that he'd been on the receiving end of being hunted by a headhunter and he didn't like it. And so they thought, you know what, we can do better than this. And I asked him, how? What would you do better? And he said, well, let's start with treat others the way you want to be treated. So that was an interesting perspective of his.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm willing to entertain a motion to approve the recommendation to hire John Keister's firm for our executive director search.
So moved.
Second.
Any other further questions, comments? Thank you all, and I really want to thank the work of the Human Resources Committee and staff. They put in a lot of hours of work to make their recommendation to our director. So thank you. So I will call the roll. Sally? Aye. Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you. Moving to item C, additional 2021 appropriation transfers.
I think the next 4 items are all Kelly's, so.
Kelly, come on up to the mic.
You could just stay there a while.
Back in December, you approved estimated appropriation transfers as well as encumbrances for 22 to roll over. I would like to point out that we did have one fund transfer of $2,268.12. It was from general fund to cover some timing overspending in the program fund. So we have included the final numbers and adjustments, which were a little less than what was approved in December. If you would please review those and approve those. If you have any questions?
Are there questions?
Kelly, this is everything also that we're carrying forward in construction. So you're going to see
Correct.
all of the contractors on that list because we haven't done final payments yet.
It's not all of the balance of the what's still outstanding, but it was everything that we had left in appropriation that we had not spent in 21.
Thank you.
So there's about 2,300,000, or that's what
Yeah.
we get basically got approximately here.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
It looks like there's about 2,300,000 or two.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Somebody can approve and somebody can second.
Ann was first.
Ann was first, Terry second.
Maybe.
Any further questions or comments? I will call for the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. Moving on to item 9D. Kelly?
We're asking for approval of the professional meeting and training budget recommendation. For 22, we're hopeful that many of the workshops and conferences that will be able to be attended in person. That's still a little bit in flux, but we have budgeted for in person for most of them. And you will see that the total recommendation is $84,300. The increase is because of going more in person, more staff attending, because we have more staff. And we've also added the $10,000 for the equity, diversity, and inclusion training, as well as keeping adding to the educational assistant benefit, at 12,000 when we also received 5,000 from the Friends to help support that fund as well.
Thank you. Questions for Kelly about continuing education funding?
I haven't forgotten in this educational assistance benefit, we're covering tuition and books. Anything else?
Just tuition.
Just
Just
tuition.
tuition. Okay. Thank you.
And the percentage is based on whether it is library science or others, correct?
Okay. I was thinking books were in there.
In a nutshell, very, very small nutshell.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve? I have a motion and a second. And with that, I will call for the vote, although I lost my piece of paper. Let's do this. Sally? Aye. Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. Did I miss anyone? Thank you. Moving to agenda item 9E.
We're asking you to approve a much broader capital asset policy. There are some new requirements that the State Board of Accounts has added. We're not exactly sure of the reason. We've been told a couple different reasons. Mostly, I think it's moving us towards GAAP, which is the generally accepted accounting principles, as we are audited. But within that, we are required to not only give the amount of at 5,000 of where we would consider a capital asset, but to define categories, to define length of depreciation, and to define the type of depreciation. So you will see within the policy, and we did run it by legal for comment on anything and had it tweaked for anything that we needed to add or define better. So you will see for most of assets that are depreciated assets, things like artwork and that type of thing are never depreciated. So we would have a straight line depreciation, which means we just take the life of it and divide it over it. And then there's a composite depreciation for the books, which is a little more complicated. And I'm going to spend a lot of time with Sarah and other staff, exciting them, talking about composite depreciation over the next several weeks.
So we're going to get an update on this.
Yes.
Okay.
We are in the process right now of doing our updated assets. It is 3 years instead of the 2 that's technically required by statute, but with COVID and with the move, we have stretched it out to 3 years. And so Wells and Associates right now are currently doing our asset update, and that should be coming to the board in probably March.
Does this need a vote?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion to accept. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions for Kelly? Thank you. With that, I'll call the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. Moving on to 9F, outstanding warrants. Kelly?
Indiana code requires us to cancel and redistribute the money into the fund of any outstanding checks or warrants that are 2 years or older. So you will see in front of you out of our general operating fund, there are 4 checks totaling $368.11 and the dates of which they were issued. And then there's operating petty cash, which has $154.24. And that, again, the checks will be voided and the money deposited back into the funds from which they were written.
Okay, questions? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to approve,
So moved.
Second.
and I will call the roll unless more further discussion. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also accept. Thank you very much, Kelly. Moving now to item 9G, reciprocal borrowing agreement between New Carlisle, Olive Township Public Library, and St. Joseph County Public Library.
Yes.
Deb,
Well, we've considered both New Carlisle and Walkerton to be reciprocal libraries. We've never signed a formal covenant with them. So tonight, to clean up all of this with the guest card policy and everything else, tonight we have the standard reciprocal covenant with New Carlisle for your approval. And their board is slated to approve this in February. I'm hoping next month we'll have Walkerton, but we just haven't heard from them. But once we get these two, it cleans up everybody we're reciprocating with.
okay, are there questions about that? I'm not hearing any, so do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. I heard no questions. Are there any further discussion? Hearing none, let's do the roll. Sally? Aye. Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. Last action agenda item H, Library Board Resolution to declare excess withdrawal library materials.
On behalf of Christine Packard. I approve.
You
A motion.
motion,
Motion
okay.
to-
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we will sell materials to the Friends for the sum of $1, excluding those items selected by library staff for library sales and events. And this also includes computer equipment declared as excess. Any questions? Hearing none, I will call for the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Also approved. Thank you. Is there other business? None that we are aware. Are there any visitors, members of the public who are invited to address the library board? We have none? Okay, we will move to news and educational items.
Nothing to add tonight. We'll have a presentation, I hope, at the next meeting, but this meeting was pretty jam-packed, so we put it off.
Thank you. With that, when we adjourn from this meeting, we will go to our annual meeting and then our library board finance meeting. Our next meeting will be, we also have a library closed executive session meeting.
You know, we don't.
We do not need that one, so
I
please.
scheduled it in case you wanted to have one
Okay.
after, because the personnel committee met, and I thought you might want one, but
So our next regular board meeting will be Monday, February 28th in this room. Beautiful surroundings, the Buter Kernan event space. With that, I am willing to entertain a motion to adjourn our monthly meeting.
Second.
With that, I'll call a roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. With that, this meeting is closed. And with that, I will give everybody 1 minute to stand up and stretch, and then we will move into our next meeting.
You know, while we're doing that, I just noticed, we're not meeting. I just was looking at the dates we've got scheduled for our meetings for this year. And I noticed that the September meeting is actually on the first day of the Jewish New Year. And that's not a good day for me.
Okay.
So I think last year we had.
Last year
ran into that same thing
last year we missed it. I think the year before we hit it, and we moved.
Or maybe it was the year
Last
before.
Last year we
So if
missed
we
it.
could- if it's-
Yeah.
What
we don't-
your would you like to move it 1 week forward or 1 week backward?
Either way is fine with me. Actually, let's just take a quick look, but.
It
it's
has
just
to.
That particular day is, let's see.
It'll have to be 1 week earlier. It'll have to be the 3rd, because there isn't a 5th Monday.
Yeah, so maybe the 19th, but
Is
but if you
this,
don't want to look at it. for
okay, what month is this?
September.
Okay,
Of
so,
September.
Instead of
It's not
September
Labor Day.
26th, I think it probably needs to be.
all right, So let's move that meeting. I
September
don't think we
19th.
need a vote for that. Just move it to the 19th.
If that's okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Not to be difficult, but
No, that's
but it
not.
seems like we need our people, depending on what's going on.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So next we will move into the annual meeting. So I will call this meeting to order and determine a quorum. Do you need to get some?
No, I was thinking again.
I will do a roll, and when I call your name, please let me know that you are here and that you have received your materials. Sally,
I am present and I have the material.
Marvin,
I am present and have everything I'm supposed to have.
Alan,
I'm present and I have my materials.
Terry,
Present and have material.
Ann,
I'm present and have materials.
and I am also present and have the materials. We have a quorum, and I think we need somebody to nominate our officers for next year. That's not something that I can do as an officer. Would somebody please make a nominations?
Sure, I move that our officers for 2022 be, that we reelect all three officers, that Christine continue to serve as president for the coming year, that Ann continue to serve as vice president, and Dr. Marvin serve.
I still can't hear nobody.
One doctor.
Dr.
Okay.
Marvin continue to serve as secretary of our board.
Okay,
That would be my-
all three have been spoken to and graciously accepted the opportunity. Do we have to elect them each separately, or can we do it as a slate since there's no?
Call for further nominations.
Are there?
If there aren't any other nominations, then I think one full.
Okay. So the nominations are still open. Are there any other nominations? Yes, no? Hearing none, we will close nominations and we will vote on the slate. So we need a motion to vote on the slate.
So moved.
Second.
I will do a roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I also approve. With that, well, thank you for.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And thank our other board executive committee members. In keeping with continuity, I have spoken to all the board members, and I would like to ask the board members to, in the role that they have been serving. So for the Finance Committee, I would ask Terry Rensberger and to serve as chair with Marvin Curtis as member. Human Resources Committee, John Wibbens as chair and Rosen as member. And Public Service Committee, Alan Feldbaum as chair and Sally Carlin as member. Do we need a vote on that?
You
Or
do not. You just make those assignments.
consider yourself assigned? Okay. The next agenda item for the annual meeting is to name Kelly Kitchen as treasurer of the board, named as the treasurer signatory, authorizes the use of the treasurer's facsimile signatory for library warrants, investments, and bank accounts, and authorizes the surety bond of the treasurer for 2022. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, are there any questions? With that, I will call for the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I also approve. So it is passed. Everybody got copies of the bylaws, and at our annual meeting, we reaffirmed the board bylaws. And this is an Indiana State Library recommends that they be renewed and reaffirmed on a regular basis, and we do this at our annual meeting. So would I have a motion to reaffirm our bylaws?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. Moving on to the board resolution to approve the employee handbook of policies and procedures and the St. Joseph County Public Library Public Service Policy Manual. We want to approve the changes that were put in place in 2021. Do I hear a motion to approve the employee handbook of policies and procedures and the St. Joseph County Public Service Policy Manual?
So moved.
I will call a roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. And the annual schedule of library board meetings was distributed. We have one change in that meeting, and the September 26th meeting will now be the September 19th meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the amended proposed schedule of meetings for 2022?
So moved.
Alan moved, Terry second. Thank you. And I will call the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. Well, we did that annual meeting
Record
very
time.
efficiently. We might have done it in 5 minutes. With that, we have no further business. Could I hear a motion to adjourn our annual meeting? We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. With that, our annual meeting is closed. Again, we'll give everybody a minute to stand up and turn around because we have a third meeting coming up, our Library Board of Finance. So this meeting is closed. Anybody need a cookie or a water?
I will reissue that library board calendar because we also have to send that to the Tribune and other places as an official document. So we'll get that out to you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
sorry.
catching that, Alan. I'm sorry I missed it.
No problem.
Thank you. And we're not in any official meeting, but I do want to say before we're in an official meeting, that this could be Sally's last meeting. We don't know how long it takes for the St.
Yeah,
Joe
hard
South
to
Bend
know.
schools to appoint a new person. So we want to thank for to be part of any official agenda for people to read and see until we actually
Sure.
have
Sure.
our new board member on
Sure.
board and oriented.
Good.
But thank you for being here, and
Absolutely.
you have provided something that we really needed. That educational perspective was really good. Not that we aren't all educators, but
Right.
it was good. Yes. Thank you. With that, let's open our next meeting. Okay. This is the Library Board of Finance meeting to be held annually, and I will call the meeting to order and say that we would like to determine that we have a quorum. So I will call everybody's name and tell me that you are here and that you have received the materials. Sally?
Here, and I've got the materials.
Marvin?
Here, have the materials.
Alan?
Here, and I also have material.
Terry?
Here and have material.
Ann?
Here, and I have the materials.
And I am here and have the materials. Every year, the Indiana Code requires that the Board of Finance to meet annually after the first Monday and on or before the last day of January. At the annual meeting, the Board of Finance shall do the following: elect a president and secretary, which we have done, receive and review the written investment report summarizing the investments during the previous calendar year, and review the overall investment policy. We have a report on that, or it's just included?
You do have a report, but it is included you do need to elect a board of finance,
Okay,
even though it's normally the same as the library board, just to make it clean.
well, we will do that.
Yeah.
We will do that next. So the materials are included. So our business is to elect Library Board of Finance. Do I hear somebody to nominate the members for the 2022 year?
Sure, I move that Christine continue to serve as the president of the Library Board of Finance and that Marvin continue to serve as the secretary of our Library Board of Finance.
Any questions or comments? Okay, so that was a motion. Do we hear a second? Sally, second. And let me go through the call. Oh, I forgot. to-
Ask if there's any other nominations.
Are there other nominations? And let me ask this question, this legal question. If these people are already, okay, because this is a separate
A
board,
different
the
board.
Board of Finance. Yes, thank you. Are there other nominations? Hearing none, we will close nominations, and we have a motion and a second. Now I will do the roll. Thank you. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I also approve and accept. Well, thank you. Congratulations, Marvin. You get to sign a few more statements. Yes, thank you.
Can I spend the money then?
Next, the review of investment policy and investment report.
Kelly, I don't know if there's anything you want to say. It's all kind of here, but if you have questions.
Don't think there are any surprises that interest was down because of principal was down as we spent through the construction, but we went from nearly 2% in interest rate to 0.1%. So we went
But
down.
based on the market drop, we're told that interest rates are going up again next year.
Yes,
We'll see.
silver lining in that it will allow us to earn more interest on our monies, but we earned $10,846.33 in interest in 21. Are there any questions on the breakdown of the investments? And towards the end of the year, we started just keeping things in the checking account rather than moving them to CDs because the checking account was earning better interest.
No questions? Do I have a motion to approve the review of investment policy and interest report, investment report?
So moved.
Marvin, second?
Second.
Sally seconds. Any questions for Kelly? Hearing none, I will go through the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I also approve. With that, our official business of the Finance Committee has ended, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I will call the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I also approve. Meeting adjourned.
Oh, my gosh. Amazing.